What is going on, guys? Seth here from Team Union Seth. We are here for Season 2 of the Leedle 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 League. This is if you got...
Yo, what a great name for a league, guys.
Thank you very much.
As you guys can see, we are here with Rishu. So this is actually a doubles league or a multi-battle league. If you guys know what the MBL is, it is basically that format. There are 8 teams in the league in total, and myself and Rishu are one of the 8 teams. We are Team Tabasco because we are bringing both the heat and the sauce.
Simultaneously at the same time.
So we actually last season we didn't actually get a chance to record because I was having issues with the with my capture card. But we have that all figured out, and it should be good to go for this season. So we are able to record it, give live commentary, team builders, all that kind of stuff. Last season we ended up going 3-4. Neither me nor Rishu have a ton of experience in the doubles format. So we were kind of learning as we go. We still don't have a ton of experience. I mean, the one season is really all that we have to date. So this is definitely going to be more of a learning and documenting experience. But we're still hoping to get some W's, make playoffs, and potentially come home with a title.
All right, to be fair to us, first of all, one of our wins was a forfeit. Second of all, what was going to be more fair to us? To be fair to us, we played really poorly in the beginning of the season. We got smoked in our first 2 games, and we started playing a lot better, and we should have beaten the team that was runner-up. So we did learn things. We're not a total lost cause, but we're kind of a lost cause.
No, not at all. But we're looking forward to the season. We're both really excited, and personally, I'm really excited to record this and put it out, just because I haven't had any actual 3DS in-game content on the channel, so I'm really looking forward to this season so far. So, we are going to get into our team. So, we drafted 12 Mons. The requirements were 1 S tier, 2 A tiers, 4 B tiers, and 5 C tiers. And we could draft whatever Mon we wanted at any point throughout the draft. So, it didn't have to be our S, and then our A's, and then our B's, and then our C's. We could draft whatever we wanted at any point. So, our first pick overall, we were actually the 3rd pick in the draft. It was a snake draft out of 8 teams. So we had the 3rd pick, went through, came back around. You guys know how a snake draft works. So we had the 3rd pick, and we decided to go with Mega Metagross as our S tier. So Mega Metagross in any kind of draft league format is so good just because of its versatility. Its moveset is amazing. Its stat distribution is pretty good. It's fast. It hits like a truck. It has a very good defensive stat. It's just overall a great Mon, and in this format, it can really take care of a team by itself. With proper support, Mega Metagross is an incredibly big threat to any team in general. So this was one of 3 Mons we had on our radar to take first, and actually all 3 of the Mons were there. We were looking at Mega Metagross, Mega Salamence, and Snorlax. All 3 of those Mons were there, but we decided to go with Mega Metagross. It's just what we felt we were more comfortable with, and something that we were looking forward to building around a little bit more than the other ones.
So, yeah, I mean, Mega Metagross is really good. I don't think I need to be the one that tells you that. If you follow Doubles OU at all, Mega Metagross is one of the best Mons in that format, which Doubles OU is kind of different from multi-battles because the switching is restrictive. But even then, the role that Mega Metagross performs is just ooga booga, I'm going to hit things really hard in any format, and I don't think that changes. So to me, I was kind of blown away that all 3 of those Mons lasted. I don't even remember if Mega Salamence got taken at all.
It did.
It did? Mm. Okay. I know Snorlax was a big value. I think Snorlax got taken in the last round, and it might have been the best Mon available.
Yeah.
But Mega Metagross, I think, is just better suited to our playstyle and easier to build around than the other 2. So given that we are inexperienced, and given that the way we want to play this league this season really does just kind of involve mashing buttons, Mega Metagross was a good fit.
So the next Mon we decided to get, so obviously we drafted Mega Metagross first. We wanted to build around it, or build our draft around it to support it. So we decided to dip into the A tier and go with Amoonguss.
Okay, so Amoonguss, alright? Amoonguss has a super high HP stat and regenerator. Now, I just said that switching is not that big a thing in multis because you only have 2 mons that you can actually switch into. So regen is not as good as it is in any other format, but still, it's bulky, it takes hits, it's really good with one of the 50% berries. It also provides redirection support with Rage Powder to help us set up. It can instantly put any mon to sleep at any time. It's a very good anti-Trick Room mon because it's so slow and it beats a lot of the good Trick Room, not setters, but a lot of the good Trick Room abusers. So it's just all around a very good support mon. Obviously, its offensive capabilities are kind of limited, but like we said, it's there primarily to support Mega Metagross and all of the other just hard-hitting, kind of brain-dead offensive mons that we have on the team. And I think, because we picked kind of late, right? This was cycling back around in the second round. I was kind of surprised Amoonguss was still there. I think it was a very high-value A-tier pick.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's here.
So yeah, I mean, something about Amoonguss, or I'm sorry, in the league we actually do have a sleep clause, so you can only put one mon to sleep at a time. It does hinder Amoonguss a little bit. I think that may have been part of the reason it lasted until it got back around to us. However, being able to put like even one mon to sleep is really nice. Plus, if we're talking in terms of like defensive synergy with the team, one thing that Mega Metagross really struggles with are bulky waters. Bulky waters can really hurt Mega Metagross a little bit, especially if they can fire off Scalds and potentially get a burn, and Amoonguss eats them for breakfast. So being able to have a really bulky mon that can get redirection, potentially help something set up, or just get Mega Metagross in on a switch, something like that, is going to be really nice for the team. So the next mon we decided to go with was Mega Manectric. So we wanted Intimidate support. We wanted Intimidate support. We wanted to make sure that we actually have a couple Intimidators on the team, but just having that support in the Intimidate would help us keep damage low in terms of physical attack. Now, Mega Metagross already has a huge physical defense stat. Getting off Intimidates is just going to boost that even more. Its move pool is limited to things like Discharge, Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Overheat Flamethrower, and Hidden Power. But it also gets things like Snarl for some tech on there. And it's overall just a really good mon. And it's also very, very fast, which can come in very handy in this format.
So, yeah, I mean, like you said, I think the two big points are Snarl provides very good team support for Metagross because its physical defense is really high. Now you Snarl with Mega Manectric, it's fast and everything. Now nothing's killing Mega Metagross this turn. All of a sudden we have Manectric, we have Amoonguss for redirection. Who is going to kill Mega Metagross? Who can stop me from pressing a button? It's not. It will take 2 mons at least to kill Mega Metagross in any given turn. Hopefully, unless we're wrong, then our season's not going to go that well. But I think we're right. So this will help. Mega Manectric also fits alongside the nice Ooga Booga offensive because its speed stat is so high. A lot of the teams are actually pretty slow, which is like a thing because Trick Room and Tailwind are both very prevalent in doubles. But even having just base 135 speed is very, very nice in almost any circumstance. Having the Lightning Rod ability on switching in can also come in handy at times, so that's a very situational type, just good deal. And Mega Manectric is just all around a strong electric type. Like, there aren't that many great electric types in. I mean, there are a ton of good electric types in doubles, but there aren't that many great ones. Like, there's Tapu Koko, which was gone, and this one, I think Tapu Koko might have also been S tier anyway. But
Tapu Koko went first overall.
Did it?
Yeah.
I thought Kira won first overall. Either way, Mega Manectric, very good mon, probably the second best electric type. So I'm looking forward to using it, and we'll see what happens.
I will also mention that, as I said before, bulky waters are something that hinders Mega Metagross, and we have an incredible bulky water counter here, as well as potential steel types, which we do have a little bit of trouble with so far in our draft. So the next mon we decided to go with, we actually dipped. We dipped into B tier for our next mon, and we went with Scrafty. Now, personally, I really wanted Scrafty because I just like how versatile it is. All 3 of its abilities are very, very useful in Intimidate, Shed Skin, and Moxie. Now, Intimidate obviously is going to be the one that's used the most. This is our second Intimidator on the team, and it's just very beneficial in doubles because you get 2 Intimidates off, and it really hinders the opponent's the opponent's physical attackers. We also get fake out support with Scrafty. Knockoff is always good in any format. We can set up with things like Bulk Up, Dragon Dance, and its move pool is pretty good with things like Drain Punch, Poison Jab, Ice Punch. So, not to mention Scrafty's pretty bulky in its own right. So we were both very excited to get Scrafty.
Okay, so like Incineroar is one of the best doubles mons to have ever existed. And in my opinion, not Arcanine, Scrafty is Scizor or Incineroar light, right? Because the Intimidate, it also gets Snarl, it has Fake Out pressure, which is very important. It's another, alongside Amoonguss, very good Super Berry abuser. It's got very high defense stats. Like, you look at Scrafty, you're like, I'm going to kill this thing. Base 65 HP, 115 in both defenses. You're not killing it. 58 is usable under Trick Room in terms of speed. 90 is a decent attack stat. Like, this thing just is all around a pretty good mon. And it provides a lot of support for Metagross. Metagross also provides a lot of support for it because obviously having that quad fairy weakness isn't great, but if you have a Mega Metagross and a Amoonguss on your team, does it really matter that much? So obviously Scrafty is a mon with weaknesses. Obviously Incineroar has a better defensive typing. But in terms of value, I think Scrafty and B tier, again, another incredibly high value pick, and I'm looking forward to using it.
Yeah, we definitely focus on value picks throughout this draft, and I think that's kind of both of our strategies in a lot of drafts. Next up, we decided to stay in B tier, and we picked up Staraptor. So our third Intimidator in a row. Also gets the Reckless ability to take advantage of things like Double Edge and Brave Bird. But yet another Intimidator. Staraptor, we just wanted like some raw power. Obviously, clearly we both like Intimidate, but some raw power in general. That Brave Bird spam, Bird spam is going to be pretty nice. Can help break down some potential defensive walls that hinder Mega Metagross a little bit. And then its move pools, it's pretty good. I mean, we can U-turn with it if we need to. It gets Final Gambit to take out a potential pretty big threat. So it also gives us a nice speed tier at base 100. So now we have 135 with Manectric, 110 with Metagross, and then 100 with Staraptor. So overall, pretty good mon. Another Intimidator. And yeah.
Alright, so this was also, I believe, at the time, our first Tailwind setter that we picked, which will help counter other teams' Tailwind, because our team did end up being pretty fast. So I anticipate either Trick Room or Tailwind being brought a decent amount against us, so Staraptor can help combat that. But for the most part, Staraptor is good at two things. The first thing is intimidating mons, because like you said, you like Intimidate, I like Intimidate. In doubles, Intimidate's probably the best ability in the game. So we already got 3 of them, and I think at least 2.5 of them are very good. Staraptor's the half, but what pushes it over the line to being, I think, a decent value pick, because it was, like, we picked it pretty late. What pushes it over the line is its ability to kill itself. Okay? So, Final Gambit, if you scarf that, like, that's just a mon neutralized. Period. End of story. Full stop. Unless they predict and get a protect off or fake out you or something, Staraptor gets a free mon off their side of the field if we choose to do that every game that we bring it. The other thing that we can do is obviously bird spam or spam double edge, and I promise you, if you've watched a singles video with the Staraptor in it, you've seen double edge, banded Brave Bird take lives, because reckless Staraptor is no joke. Even Intimidate Staraptor banded is no joke.
For real.
So, again, another just, if we wanted to do this raw offensive power mon that I think is often overlooked in this format, and so we're trying to experiment with it. We think it's high value. If we're wrong, but we're going to see what happens.
So at this point in the draft, we wanted to dip into C tier. There were a couple mons in the C tier that we really wanted to make sure we got to support our team, specifically Metagross, and kind of solidify our defensive cores. So we did decide to dip into C tier a little bit early, but we were also pretty comfortable in knowing that the B tiers that we did want probably weren't going to go this early, and we could kind of wait on them. We didn't have to get them early, which allowed us to get some pretty decent value C tiers. So our next pick was Blastoise. Now, I'm not going to talk a ton about Blastoise, because I'll let Rishu do most of the talking because he loves Blastoise. But having a bulky water, just combining that with Amoonguss, is going to be really, really nice for the team, as well as Blastoise gets fake out support and a tremendous move pool as well. So I'll let you take over and fanboy over Blastoise.
Okay, so like I don't know why you're saying I'm such a huge Blastoise fanboy. Blastoise, I like Blastoise, but you know I'm a Charizard guy. Anyway, Blastoise does a lot of very useful things in doubles. Fake out was one that you said, but it also provides us a second form of redirection because it does get Follow Me. Unfortunately, it can't do both of those things at the same time because Game Freak is dumb and doesn't like me. But the fact that it is in C tier and can do both of those things makes it pretty high value. It was around this time that we actually started getting sniped a little bit because I think we wanted Comfy and it got taken this round, but apparently so did literally like I think 6 of the 7 other teams wanted Comfy. So we were looking at this point at taking a bulky water to, again, to support Amoonguss. We had B tiers left available. We looked at Vaporeon and we looked at Golduck, and we decided that Blastoise was probably just the best one available. So yeah, outside of the team support, does provide to Metagross and Amoonguss. It can also be used pretty effectively offensively. Like if you want to water spout something with a Blastoise, that's going to do a lot of damage. It can take some hits. It can allow some setup. It's just a good mon. It's got a diverse move pool. It's very customizable, especially with it being a starter and having its stats all be not great, but generally all kind of high. Is good in League format because it makes its EV spread very customizable. So again, just following the theme, maybe not as offensive as the other stuff, but a very high value mon that we wanted to make sure we got from C tier, especially considering what had already been drafted and what was going on in the draft at the time.
So with our next pick, in my opinion, it was a little bit, not controversial, but I think we could have waited on a little bit longer. However, we wanted to make sure we grabbed a fairy type, and a pretty bulky one at that. And we also realized we wanted something that could Trick Room, not necessarily to use it ourselves. I mean, it's always an option, but we wanted to be able to potentially either combat Tailwind on our opponent's side or reverse their Trick Room. So we decided to go with Carbink. Diancie was actually taken really early on in the draft, which was another mon we were really looking at. But we went with the Carbink. It does get dual screens, so things like Reflect and Light Screen it gets. Like I said, it gets the Trick Room. And it gives us a fairy type that is just pretty valuable in any type of league format. So I don't know how much we're actually going to bring Carbink, but just having it there as a potential threat as well as to set up screens is going to make our opponent's building a little bit tougher, and definitely something they have to think about.
Okay, so I was the one that advocated that we needed a Trick Room setter. We only had one other one at the time that we picked Carbink, and it is Mega Metagross. Comfy got picked. That was the real snipe. We weren't actually like looking at DNC until after Comfy got picked, and then we realized somebody took it in the second round out of C tier. In retrospect, Diancie did not belong in C tier, but the only difference between Diancie and Carbink is that Diancie's attacks are both 100 and Carbink's are both 50. So in terms of value, the value for Carbink is there. Carbink gets a lot of team support even outside of Trick Room. Carbink can do like after you. Carbink could run the only viable form of double stall with guard split. Carbink can like skill swap. Carbink can smackdown. Carbink can wonder room. Carbink can do all sorts of stuff. And worst comes to worst, Carbink can explode. All right, that's another. So that's 2 mons. Ooga Booga, very good at killing themselves. But I don't know why you're saying we're not going to bring Carbink, because, again, base 150 in both defenses is no joke, not even a little bit. It's not funny at all. So Carbink can be a very good mon, especially in very good situations. Obviously, quad steel weakness not great, but I think it can still be extremely valuable.
I mean, we do already have 3 steel resist on the team in Blastoise, Manectric, and Metagross. So, I mean, you're right. Yeah, their defenses are really, really nice. So it's definitely going to be a valuable member of the team in prep. Our opponents trying to prep for us, and then potentially in games as well.
Also, one last thing is Carbink gets sturdy and Diancie's is not, which is actually a big deal.
Very true. So for our next pick, we stayed in the C tier. Like I said before, we weren't really too afraid of our B tiers getting picked. And this begins our quote-unquote meme of the season. So we decided to pick up Frostlass. and you'll start to understand a little bit why as we get to our next pick. But Frostlass does provide a pretty good, or a little bit, a few good things on its own. Having the Curse Body ability is actually nice because if it does get hit, we have a 30% chance, so a Scald Burn chance of disabling a move, which can be really, really bad for our opponent in the doubles format especially. We could potentially run it with a Focus Sash. Icy Wind is really nice. Having a Ghost type in general is pretty good. And it does get a decent amount of utility, things like Destiny Bond. I believe it gets Thunder Wave as well. So just having some good team support here, and the Icy Wind, like I said, is going to be very beneficial to the team in general.
Okay, so like outside of the meme that we're gonna get to with our next pick, like on its own, Frostlass is a really good support mod. Obviously the ghost typing is nice. I think we were the only team that picked a ghost type, period.
Really?
I can't remember for sure. Yeah. Like, I was surprised when I saw that. I don't think that somebody picked Cofagrigus. Like, so Frostlass, like, Ghost is a very good offensive typing, and with almost every Trick Room setter being Psychic, like, this is another, like, low-key good anti-Trick Room mon, with it being super effective and getting Taunt. I learned about 4 seconds ago that Frostlass learns Aurora Veil. So, like, setting up Hail with a Focus Sash and putting up an Aurora Veil is a strat, because we can't get faked out. But even more seriously, like, it debonds. It can run Blizzard if we're feeling risky. Spikes could actually be a thing. Switcheroo, if we want to, like, cripple a sort of Pokemon on the other side. It makes for a decent Z-move user because special attack is kind of high and it learns a bunch of very high base power moves. And having the extra C power on top of that will help cancel out the effects of the AD special attack and push it over the top to getting kills. So on its own, it's a very good mon that I might have wanted to draft anyway. However, following up Charjabug and Regigigas, well, we didn't actually pick Regigigas. We got sniped on Regigigas last season. That's a different story. Following up Charjabug from last season, this paired with our next mon makes for not only a very good meme, but a very good viable strategy as a meme, which is just mind-blowingly amazing. So we're going to get to that next. I'm very excited.
I'm going to interject really quickly. There were actually only 2 other ghost types drafted, Decidueye and Drifblim. So our next mon, I'll let you take over. We decided to go with Primate.
Okay. So, alright, Primate's got some abilities, okay? And the more useful one is Defiant, which is part of the reason that we selected it out of the pool of mons that were available for us to use for this meme. Because Defiant acts as a very good anti-intimidate strat, getting a +1 boost upon being intimidated.
Gotcha.
Keep being scarfed or banded with that, or having Tailwind up with that is a very scary thing to deal with. Primate, also another mon that gets Final Gambit, so it's pretty good at killing itself.
Common theme.
Frostlass too with Devon. But the real reason it's here with Frostlass, the real reason it got picked was because of Anger Point. Okay, now Frostlass learns a move called Frost Breath that is 65 base power, 90 accuracy, and crits 100% of the time. Anger Point is an ability that Primate has that activates when you get hit by a critical hit and boosts your attack to +6 automatically, no matter what other boosts you have. That's ridiculous, okay? At +6, if you just weaken a team, come in late game, and start spamming Rock Slide, like, that's a lot of kills. You just insta-win. That's what makes it viable. I saw Wolf Glick do this in a video. He used Tauros, which might be a slightly better mon to use because of the speed, but we shied away from Tauros, which was available, just because we already have 2 base 110s, and we wanted the Defiant user. But Primate, we feel, can do the exact same thing, and have it be very effective. So we want this particular set, even though both Frostlass and Primate are plenty viable on their own, we want this particular combo to be in the back of teams' minds when they're building against us, so that it is feared, because this is an actual problem if it goes unchecked, and we will be ready. Do not worry.
Yeah. I also do want to mention that Primeape on its own is a pretty good mon. As you mentioned, Defiant is a really, really good ability, especially in this format with it where Intimidate is so prevalent. Also, getting Rock Slide is really nice. I mean, best move in the game, or best move in the format. Close Combat, U-Turn, gets coverage in things like Ice Punch. I believe it gets Gunk Shot as well. And then having that base 95 speed is just another good speed tier. So at this point, we have the Mega Manectric at 135, we have Mega Metagross and Frostlass at 110, we have Staraptor at 100, Primeape at base 95, and then even throw Blastoise in there at 78. So we're starting to build a little bit of diversity in speed tiers as well, which isn't as important in doubles as it is in singles, but it's still something to that teams need to be aware of. Next up, so we actually decided to take our final C tier mon in this round, so the third to last round, and wait till the last 2 rounds to pick up our B tiers. We weren't super afraid of this mon getting sniped, but we were more afraid of it getting sniped than our last 2 mons. So we decided to go with the Venomoth. Now, this was not my idea, this was Rishu's, but I am completely on board with Venomoth as a mon in this format. With things like Quiver Dance, it hits pretty hard, gives us a base 90 speed, so kind of climbing down that ladder a little bit in terms of speed tiers. But Quiver Dance with Sludge Bomb and Bug Buzz is just going to be really good. So I'll let you take over because you were a little bit higher on Venomoth than I was.
Okay, yeah. Quiver Dance Tinted Lens is just another really offensive set that's easy to pull. The main reason I was behind Venomoth is because I didn't see a single other mon left in C tier when we were picking that I liked and wasn't a typing that we already had. So that's a large reason why I like Venomoth, but the bigger reasons, aside from the Quiver Dance set that you already said, aside from the obvious spec set that you could follow that up with, are actually the team support options that Venomoth has, because Venomoth can do a lot, right? Venomoth provides us another form in redirection, because Venomoth does learn Rage Powder. Venomoth can put things to sleep with Sleep Powder. So Venomoth, when paired with the Amoonguss, even though they obviously share like a bunch of weaknesses, can provide a lot of confusion in team prep and in team play. Because you kind of have to guess which mon's going to do which in any scenario provides us the advantage. Venomoth also does learn Tailwind. Venomoth is a T-Spike setter. Venomoth can U-turn. Venomoth can Whirlwind. So, like, there's just a lot of underrated things that you can do in terms of team support with Venomoth. So even though it's not bulky, its defensive typing isn't great, I think, has the potential to be a very high-value mon. I also realize it has the potential to be garbage because of all of the things that I just listed, and I will take full responsibility for taking it if that is the case. But I am really intrigued by what's going to happen if we can use Venomoth, and if we use it correctly and pull it off, I think it will go really well. And this might end up being the steal of the draft, or at least the steal of our draft. So, high risk, high reward. We'll see what happens.
So something that you might notice in our draft at this point is we have a decent weakness to fire. Mega Metagross, Amoonguss, Venomoth, and Frostlass are all weak to fire. Now we do have resistances in the Blastoise and the Carbink. However, dipping into B tier, we didn't see a whole lot that we wanted in B tier. This mon we kind of tossed up back and forth. We knew the mon we were going to pick last, but this next pick was a little bit back and forth. We were kind of deciding between like Gardevoir, but we had decided to go with the Carbink as our fairy. We had looked into a couple other different mons, but we decided to go with Dugtrio. Now, I said weak to fire. Dugtrio gets Arena Trap in the format, so we can potentially trap a fire type like an Incineroar, any fire type you want to think of, Magmortar potentially, and get either a Rock Slide, an Earthquake off, something that's just going to do a lot of damage to the team, and it can be very, very useful in taking out a potential threat on the other side. Now, yes, flying types, and I believe levitators as well, are able to switch out of the Arena Trap, but I mean, it's not like every team is going to have 6 mons that are off the ground. I mean, they might have 1, 2, maybe 3. So we can still come in with Dougie, and we can still trap a lot of things, and I think it's going to be a very useful addition to the team. Not to mention, it does give us a base 120 speed, which helps us diversify our speed tiers even more.
Alright, so Dougie's also good at killing itself. Its HP stat's not that high, but it does get Final Gambit.
It gets Memento, too.
It does. Dougie's very good at killing itself. Another very brain dead offensive option just because its bulk stats are so low and it doesn't actually learn that many potential team sport options. Like, it could set rocks if we want it to, but I don't believe either of the Megazards were taken, so I don't see much utility in that. Stomping Tantrum is also a nice tech in case we don't want to run Earthquake. But yeah, aside from, flying types, levitators, shed shell users, and ghost types, we trap every mon in the game. Trapping in doubles is a very effective strategy, so much so that I think we put Gothitelle in S tier. So Doug Trio, obviously, much like in singles, is a very situational mon, but in those specific situations where it's useful, it is one of the most useful mons in the game. So as long as we can scope those out in team building and build appropriately around them, Doug Trio can clear out a threat that maybe stops, or that maybe helps the other team set up, or clears out a threat that maybe stops Metagross from winning, and then we just go into Metagross and click buttons. So, obviously, another kind of high-risk, high-reward mon, but if it's used right, I think it can be very, very effective in this team setup.
Yeah, I mean, this thing can really come in, and it's really good for taking out potential steel types and fire types, which Metagross struggles with both of those. So it's definitely a good mon to help us support the Metagross. I had one more thing. Oh, yeah. Just because we have a lot of mons on our team that are really good at killing themselves did not mean either of us thought about that beforehand or have anything to do with that. So just throwing it out there. We're all good. But our last pick in the draft. As we said in the first round of the draft, we decided to forego Mega Salamence, and therefore we needed a Dragon type that we're both very fond of, and we knew would be there. We also lack a little bit of priority, so our final pick, our final B tier mon, we decided to go with Dragonite. And Rishu, I'll let you start with this one, and I'll follow it up.
Okay, so first of all, nice disclaimer. We if you do need help, seek it out. Very seriously. But it's not my fault that Game Freak made that such an effective strategy in doubles. Like, oh my god. But Dragonite does a lot of useful stuff. Multiscale is an incredibly useful ability in doubles. Because, first of all, it essentially allows you to eat a Fake Out if you have leftovers. If you have Protect, you get Multiscale for free. You get one free setup, and it gets a lot of different support options, potentially. Like, it can Tailwind, it can Heal Bell, it can Defog, it can Haze if we want to get rid of setup. It also sets up dual screens, it gets Rock Slide, so it can support the team in a lot of different ways. There's Thunder Wave right there. So Dragonite, just with the move pool that it has alone, makes it very useful in almost any format. Base 80 was a speed we didn't have yet. E-Speed is a very good mon if we just want to slap a band on it and run it like a singles mon. That can be a very effective strategy. And it's a pseudo, right? So its stats are all really well balanced. It's hard to take down alone. And it's just another one of those powerful mons. So I'm not sure. Again, there were a lot of dragon types that we could have taken. Trampa was still on the board until the second to last round or last round, which is a very good Trick Room sweeper. Kyurem we left undrafted, but that was still on the board. But we felt that Dragonite was the best option, and we're looking forward to using it.
Yeah, I mean, Dragonite's move pool alone makes it a really, really good mon. Very valuable pick in this type of format. Plus, it's an excellent Z user, an excellent Z Crystal user on both the physical and special side. Dragon Dance with a Z Crystal is very, very scary. And then even like a Dragon Dance or a Bandit Extreme Speed, as you mentioned, can be really nice for teams. It can E-Speed out prioritizes common priority moves. It can also be nice to help us pick off some threats that have been weakened down over the course of a match. So I don't expect to use this thing a whole lot in the in the beginning of games, but in the late game, or if we really need like a powerful wall breaker mid game or something, expect Dragonite to be there and to really be a useful asset to the team. So here is our team, Team Tabasco for Season 2 of the Leedle 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 League. So let us know what you guys think of the team below. Personally, I'm pretty happy with this team. as mentioned at the beginning of the video, me and Norishu have a ton of experience in this format, so we're kind of taking our singles knowledge, which we both have a good amount of experience in, taking our singles knowledge, taking the little bit of doubles knowledge that we have, and kind of just combining our brain power to do the best that we can. You know, we know enough about doubles to know that we need things like fake out, we need redirection, we need mons that support each other, and that can, you know, and that can set up and potentially build around 1 or 2 mons. So we know enough where we think we can draft a pretty good team, we can play pretty decently, and we're looking forward to experimenting, having a good season, learning a lot, and potentially make a run at playoffs and hopefully further. Wonderful insight. But anyway, let us know what you guys think of the team down below. Let us know if there's anything you think we should change, anything you think we could have drafted better. The doc to the official doc for the league will be down below as well, so you can see what was undrafted, you can see the rest of the teams, standings, all that kind of stuff. But other than that, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.